I reported my car stolen after my sister took it. My sister's car broke down 6 months ago because of her own stupidity. I won't go into it here, but she ignored the advice of a mechanic, and because of that, her car broke. I decided to be nice and offer my sister my car until she could get hers fixed, as I could bike to work while she needed to drive. She did not get her car fixed for some reason. She claimed to be saving money to do so, but every time her paycheck came, she spent it. My parents have even offered her a loan to fix her car, but she refused. Along with all of this, she has been abusing my generosity and taking my car all day and night. I told her she could use it for work, but it seems to her that it is a free pass to use my car, not fill it with gas, and take it when I specifically tell her not to. Recently, I've needed to get to work very early, and I really don't feel like riding my bike 6 miles at 3 in the morning, so I told my sister she had 30 days until I take the spare key from her, and she is no longer allowed to use it. That was 32 days ago. Yesterday morning, she woke up specifically before me to take my car at 2:30 in the morning. I called her and demanded she bring it back, but she just hung up on me. Because of this, I reported it stolen. My sister was arrested 30 minutes later, and my parents had to go bail her out. My sister is now facing charges for unauthorized use of a car, and my parents and her are pissed. They claim I want way too far here, but honestly, I feel justified. My parents are worried if she's found guilty, she will lose her job, but in my opinion, it's her own fault. Am I wrong here? Am I an a-hole? Response 1, NTA, she stole your car. Sounds like she needs a lesson in accountability. Tell your parents you wouldn't have had to report it stolen if she brought it back like you asked. Why is she not held to the same standard you are? Reply 1, why is she not held to the same standard you are? Something I have literally had to ask my parents. It's scary how oblivious parents can be to how differently they treat their kids. Reply 2, so honestly, how this happens is quite easy. So you have the good kid, the one who gives you little grief. They do what they are told, act responsibly, you don't have to worry about them. Then you have crusty Meshifa, which is OP's sister. I'm betting her parents have poured all sorts of effort into her, dread the next phone call about what else she has messed up, how much is it going to cost them this time. They get so focused on trying to make her right that they don't even realize how differently they treat you. Again, because the good kid does not cause the stress, does not create issues, does not make it right, but you can at least see how it happens. Parents are, after all, humans and fallible, not omnipotent. As to treating all your kids differently, well, yeah, as a parent you try to be equal, but every single kid is different. Everyone requires a slightly different approach sometimes drastically different approaches. Sometimes you learn, like my oldest 2 got phones way earlier, and I regretted the hell out of that. There were serious emotional and psych implications from that, and with my next 3, I'm not making that mistake. So to the youngest, they see it completely unfair. For my part, I sit down with them and explain it out. Their health and safety come first, and I am not budging. For OP, though, it has obviously gone to the extreme. She stole his car and then refused to bring it back. She messed with his ability to safely get to work. She has abused his generosity. Her parents should be on her about that. They weren't, and OP had little recourse. Reply 3, they often treat the idiot better and forget to tell anyone. I do this to my own friends and forget. The effing idiots need all the help they can get. The smart one might actually learn if they get a mistake pie. Also, if I'm dealing with the smart one, chances are better I might be totally wrong in what I think is a mistake. Reply 4. Someone posted a great Malcolm in the Middle clip about this the other day. /PUZTECQ. Reply 5. My parents love us both, but don't even realize their special treatment of my brother. He's 3+ years older than me, has made some questionable career and personal decisions that have left him not making much money, not that I do either. They pay his car payment, car insurance, phone bill, and send him money when he's struggling. They've bought him 4 cars over the years because he likes to tinker with them and drives rough. They paid for his 5th year of college. I make $1 more an hour than him and pay my own car payment, had my first car purchased, and was told it would be the only one. Did not get a free 5th year of college, so student loans, health insurance, and medical bills, and now cell phone. Obviously, they are generous to help either of us out at all. But I do get annoyed when they say, I manage my money poorly or need to contribute more when they ask so little of him. Response 2. NTA. You gave her 30 days notice so she had time to make other arrangements. She straight up got early to take your car on purpose, so you did not have the ability to use it. Maybe reporting it as stolen was a little far, but I honestly don't blame you for it. You gave her more than enough time, and ultimately, it's your car. Reply 1. Reporting it as stolen, wasn't it taking a little far? If anything, he waited way too long and was way too nice to a person with no boundaries or maturity. He should have done this carp a long time ago. Definitely not the a-hole, and definitely didn't take it too far. Comeuppances are a bitch. Response 3. NTA. She stole your car. Her actions were premeditated, coming over at 2:30 a.m. when she knew you would be leaving at 3 a.m., and she deliberately hung up on you when you tried calling her. You even gave her 30 days notice. She had every intention to steal. Reply 1. She deliberately hung up on you when you tried calling her. Yup. I know when my car is stolen, I always phone the thief to give them one last chance. Laugh out loud, not the a-hole she stole. Response 4. NTA gave her 30 days and she also hung up on you. Justified. She shouldn't get away with this. She's being immature. Response 5. NTA. She stole your car after you specifically told her she couldn't use it anymore. Definition of theft. Doesn't matter if she's family or not, you were more than reasonable, and she completely abused your generosity. The only thing that makes me sad is that your parents bailed her ass out. She should have stayed in jail longer. Response 6. NTA. She took a car she wasn't legally entitled to. That's stealing a car. Yeah, it was your car and she was your sister, but that doesn't change anything. It was still a car she wasn't legally entitled to that she took. Theft. Maybe this will teach her responsibility. Reply 1. She took a car she wasn't legally entitled to. That's stealing a car. Some countries do make a distinction here. In mine, this would be TWC, taking without owner's consent, which is slightly different to theft. She was allowed to use it in general, she was insured, etc., but she didn't have the driver's permission at this specific time. Here's an article about it. Note the subtle difference between this and theft. We don't know where OP is from, so they could be in the UK where this would apply. /wiki, taking without owner sense consent. Reply 2. She was allowed to use it in general, she was insured, etc., but she didn't have the driver's permission at this specific time. You linked the wiki but didn't even read it. In short, theft is intent to permanently deprive the owner, e.g., keeping the car, stripping / selling / destroying it. Whereas T usually describes joyriding, where all that is intended is an unauthorized use for a short period of time. 2OC would clearly be the charge here and not for the reasons you stated. Reply 3. We have the same laws in a lot of places in the US. OP says she was charged with unauthorized use of a car, which I think is similar to the UK law you reference. It's a minor crime compared to grand theft. The former will probably get you probation. The latter will get you years in prison. At least in the state where I live, that's the way it is. Response 7. A bit different than the consensus, but to be honest, everyone sucks here. She is primarily the a-hole, however, the response is way over the top. I feel like it could have been dealt with differently, but to each their own. Reply 1. Yeah, I feel like it's a complete waste of valuable police and legal system time to deal with a sibling argument over a damn car. She obviously sucks, but a petty response is also kind of weak. Should have just gotten the keys back at day 30. Reply 2. How is it a waste of resources? The crime she was charged with is used specifically for situations like these. She wasn't charged with theft, she was charged with joyriding. It's illegal. Reply 3. Once you have a criminal record, it is very difficult to get a job. Now she will be even more dependent on her family to support her. Reply 4. Actually, she stole a car, so this time the police was used as they have to be. They weren't solving an argument between siblings, they were detaining and recovering a stolen car. Whatever backstory there is between the car, the thief, and the owner doesn't change the fact that the car was stolen and the police are there exactly for this type of things. Reply 5. How? Tackle her and pry the spare key out of her hands? She woke up at 2 a.m. just to make sure he wouldn't take the car to work. That's past levels of being reasonable. They even tried calling her to give her one last shot to bring the car back. This isn't a kid you can chase down on foot and carry in one arm. She is driving a freaking car unless they have OnStar or something to stop the engine remotely. The police were the best option, in my opinion. Is it the best use of their resources? Maybe, and maybe not. If a cop happened to see her while waiting for speeders, it not really take a whole loy of extra effort. Response 8. NTA, and your parents suck for yelling at you about it. They are acting like all this is your responsibility, when in fact it's hers. She stole your car. The consequences of her actions are not your responsibility. The consequences of her actions are her own responsibility. When you steal a car, the consequences of that action are getting arrested and being charged with a crime. Stay strong, OP. You're good. Response 9. NTA, a bit over the top, I'd say, but there's no reaching some people. Now she knows you're not joking. Reply 1. I don't think it was over the top at all. Somebody had to step in and take control of the situation, and OP has hopefully taught her a real-life lesson. TBH, it's a lesson she should have gotten much earlier in life. Response 10. ESH, you were well within your right to call the police on your stolen goods, but I really think it's a little too much. This may have long-term consequences for her, having a criminal record. Reply 1. Yeah, people in this thread just must not have any siblings. Technically, he's in the right, of course, but come on, man. Reply 2. You just summed up my opinion on this. He's in the right, but come on, take the keys from her when she comes back. LMAO, don't call the feds, ha ha ha. Edit, missing word. Response 11. NTA. Maybe reporting the car stolen was a little excessive because of the charges that she faces could cause issues for her in the future. But on the flip side, it seems like the attitude she has could have gotten her in a much bigger situation later on that could end badly. Hopefully this experience will wake her up and help her to think things through before making poor choices. Reply 1. I doubt it's going to hurt her in the future. As noted by the OP, she was charged with unauthorized use of a car, which is a lot more minor than a grand theft and slash or burglary charge. Hell, if she has no record, the courts might allow her to do some sort of diversion program so it doesn't show up on her record at all. Response 12. ESH. First of all, your sister sounds really annoying and entitled. That's a problem. She's the a-hole for that. Secondly, your parents needed to take more control of this situation for you. It sounds like you all still live in their home, so they should still be having some sort of role in parenting you. I don't know how old any of you are, but even if you're above 18, it doesn't mean their job is done, even if you all should be handling most things yourselves. I think they suck for failing to sufficiently help. Thirdly, you suck for having charges pressed on her. You made your point. I would try to get the charges dropped now. You are morally in the right, but the criminal justice system is different than that. I don't think being morally in the right always justifies subjecting people to that. She's your sister. Your parents will be dealing with the monetary aspect of this. She is going to struggle to work afterward. It will affect her emotionally, and she seems pretty immature to start. Now, if she was putting you in harm, I may not feel so adamant about you being the a-hole too here. But you weren't in real immediate danger. She wasn't putting lives at risk or harming either of you. You kind of just used cops to settle your feud. I get you technically can, it's just pretty effed up. In my eyes, you're wasting public resources to settle a petty score with your sister. You really need to drop the charges. I get why you did it, and I mostly agree, but it's such a petty thing to F up everyone's lives about. Reply 1. Petty score? OP could have lost their job by not being able to make it on time due to the sister literally stealing the vehicle, waking up at 2:30 a.m. to take the car before OP was 100% premeditated. In my opinion, the OP is most certainly not the a-hole, especially since they called the sister to give her a chance to return the vehicle and she was brazen enough to just hang up. Also, why do people, you're not the only one, think that OP or anyone other than the prosecutor can choose to drop the charges in a criminal case. That's not how that works at all. Response 30A. Let your parents have fun dealing with the fallout of having a young adult that doesn't learn the meaning of accountability. There are repercussions for actions, and she learned that today. She has no one to be pissed off at but herself. Response 14 NTA. You clearly told her no, and she risked you maybe losing your job or getting reprimanded for being late, not to mention the risks of riding your bike at 3 a.m. People need to realize that being family doesn't mean you get a free pass for all kinds of shot. Response 15. NTA, an item, a very expensive and important one no less, was taken without the owner's consent. The very definition of theft. You were under no obligation to lend her your car, but did so to help her out, despite her track record of caring for vehicles. You gave her ample notice and warning that she did not have your permission to use the car after a certain date. Not sure if I would have called the cops on her, but she has no one to blame but herself, and she needed to be taught a lesson that it's not right to exploit people close to you and steal their carp. Response 16, NTA. Not how I would go about it, but technically she did use your car against your wishes. You were nice enough to let her use it, but she took advantage of you. Why the F do we hurt the ones close to us? So bizarre. Reply 1. Just out of curiosity, how would you have handled it? She had 30 days notice that OP had to be at work earlier than usual, so he would need his car and it wouldn't be available to her. Use that knowledge to show up at 2:30 and take the car without OP knowing, then hung up on him when he called to tell her to bring it back. Response 17, NTA. She stole your car. She risked your job by depriving you of transport to work, so why should you care about her job? She needs to grow up. Response NTA. For her to get up 30 minutes before you to take you car was brazen and vindictive. You were beyond generous with her, and after all of that, gave her 3 days to which she still didn't get a new car. She thought she would continue abusing your goodwill and using you. She needs to learn there are consequences due taking someone's things when you know you aren't supposed to, and that she can't continue to walk all over you. I bet she'll think twice before she does it you or anyone else again. Response 19, while you are not the a-hole, I'd say drop the charges. But tell her that if it happens again, you will go through with it, and you want your key back now. Response 20A. But damn, that is a harsh lesson learned. I get why you did it, but the backlash is somewhat expected. Still not the a-hole though.